Back in March this year, we spoke about Luke Wilson, a Metropolitan Police constable who was on a night out with colleagues during an authoritarian COVID restrictions when he decided he didn't like being told to obey the COVID rules in place at the time by the staff of the Be at One cocktail bar in King William Street Monument on July the 2nd last year. The staff, wanting to do their bit, wanted to follow the rules in place so they could remain open. But Wilson didn't care about that, and upon being told to follow the rules himself, he headbutted the bar manager. "28-year-old Wilson was out with what's believed to be 20 to 25 colleagues from Lewisham Nick, all ignoring the rule of six that was in place at the time, and upon first being told to follow the rules, told the bar staff to lighten up. Now, whether you believe in or agree with the rules, it makes no difference. Wilson and his mates were like Stasi in their approach of getting us to follow them. Therefore, they should be accountable for not following the rules they were forcing onto us. Personally, I have no issue with people who carried on with their lives normally, and therefore this gathering of theirs wouldn't even have been an issue for me, wouldn't even have appeared on my radar. But as I say, the fact they were forcing us under threat of arrest to follow the rules, then they should have been following them as well. Anyway, when Johnny White, the bar manager, approached the group and asked them to behave after other staff's requests went unheeded, Wilson squared up to him and hit him, Johnny, with his head. I mean, personally, I wouldn't call it a headbutt as such, but I guess it fits the definition, and Wilson definitely made contact with Johnny, so at the very least it was an assault. But would I class it as a headbutt? Well, I probably wouldn't. Now, thanks to the CCTV footage, Wilson was convicted of the assault following a trial at Westminster Magistrates Court in March, and he was given a 10-week sentence. Suspended for 12 months, along with some financial penalties. District Judge Brian E. Clark, who oversaw Wilson's trial, described the assault that was caught on camera as a moment of madness, which defies explanation. Personally, I certainly wouldn't call it a moment of madness, as this is the kind of behaviour we see all too often from police, which makes it more of a pattern of behaviour within the police rather than a fleeting moment of madness. Well, Wilson has now had his misconduct hearing for his actions, and PC Lewis Wilson is now ex-PC Lewis Wilson after the panel found his actions to have amounted to gross misconduct. Metropolitan Police Chief Superintendent Trevor Lawrie said at the hearing the normal load of meaningless word salad that we have come to expect. Police officers are rightly held to high standards where professionalism and behavioural standards are concerned. Whether on or off duty, they must behave in a manner befitting public services. Blah, blah, blah. PC Wilson's behaviour fell far below the standards we expect from our officers, and it is right that he has faced the consequences of his actions. Blah, blah, blah. The Met is driven by the values of professionalism, integrity, courage and compassion. Ha! We only want the best, and we will always act when our employees fall below the exemplary standards we and the public expect. Now, I am not going to go into exactly what happened on that evening when Wilson assaulted the bar manager, but I will link to the previous videos in the description should you want to check them out. But needless to say, even though the group of police were criticised back in March by District Judge Brian E. Clark for breaking the COVID rules and for abusing their warrant cards, and even though a complaint about the behaviour of the police and their breaking COVID rules was lodged with professional standards decided not to concern themselves with the COVID breaches and said they had instead simply focused on the investigation on the assault instead. Which I think again shows some degree of favouritism, even though he was still dismissed as a result of his misconduct hearing. police acting against you or I will take any and every complaint against a person as they can in order to make an incident sound far worse than it actually is. In fact, I'm sure that those who were assaulted by police during COVID restrictions and who may have pulled away from the cop only to then be charged with resisting arrest and possibly assault an emergency worker still ended up getting done for the COVID breach as well. So not sure why, although it's a pathetic charge and I don't agree with any of them, did this cretin not also have that complaint added to his misconduct notice? Pedantic? Yeah, maybe. But I do think the law should apply equally to all men and women regardless of your so-called status or job.